Okay, today I'm gonna be back on my shitty mic. It was $40, never bought one before, and I'm probably gonna have to buy one again just for the fact that it sucks total ass. But what can I say? Beyond that, though, I had another thought on my mind today, specifically around all the corona shit. Um, More to do with like the president wanting to open up schools despite everything that should point against that. Because, I mean, like, no matter how you look, like, that's just empirically a bad idea. People are only gonna get hurt from it. And it's more or less just like a disillusionment, I feel like a lot of people are feeling with the government in general. Because, I mean, like, it's very clear what the people want. I don't think anything that people have been asking for regarding like health concerns and precautions around the coronavirus, like none of it's been all that crazy. If anything, it's the bare minimum, and we haven't been able to even match that, which is really funny, especially looking in like relation to all the other countries people typically make fun of. I should turn the volume down on this a bit more, especially in looking in relation to all those other nations that normally Americans love to make fun of. Um, I hope I don't come off as like anti-American, but I mean they do a damn fucking good job at annoying the shit out of me. But it's the fact that like all these countries that we always make fun of for having low quality medical access and don't aren't able to take care of their own people and nation, like Canada, or take any country that people under like any other circumstances would just take to calling a socialist shithole. I'm turning the volume down on this again just because um I mean shits can get loud and I don't want it to get in the way of like what I'm talking about. Because I mean these videos are at least gonna be a way for me to get my mind off of everything while I'm here. But the thing is, this country, over the past few months, everything has really been like forcing me to see just everything that's wrong with it. I mean, before I was like, again, I know in my last video I talked about how I used to be conservative, but I mean, even before the Corona shit, like I kind of pulled out of it. But that was more of like a idle sort of thing where it wasn't like I'd always be thinking about how awful America is. Like I'd have like I would have very strong thoughts about certain topics, but it wouldn't be like every day I'd wake up and see the news and just think to myself, "My God, this is a fucking shithole." Like not to that extent, but anymore it's like I don't really have a choice in seeing it that way, seeing it for what it is. And I feel like a lot more people, at least people my own age, um, are coming to that sort of thing too. Hopefully, if I get a better mic, I'll be able to talk to, or I'll be able to be hearing from more people my age, anyways. But, like, you know, just graduating into this, graduating out of high school into all this shit, it's kind of crazy, kind of wacky, because, you know, I mean, we're always raised, especially high schoolers, like, you're raised to think that everything is going to go in a particular way for you. Like a lot of high school is coming down and them like setting up like a almost timeline for your like for the next like 10, 15 years of your future basically, where they know what's best, they know what to do for you. And not to say that it's a bad thing, because it's not like they have any idea of what they're doing themselves, like the students, I mean. But whenever things like this happen and it really like upends everything, you know, it's a lot it's a lot harder to like look away from issues in the country or issues with our nation, because when you're handed everything down like that and everybody like already sets up your future for you, it's really easy to just take it and then get all caught up with that. But people don't really have that now. People don't have that luxury. And the coronavirus is only like obviously making that sort of situation even stronger, because now not only do people not have that, they're being reminded every day that their own country is incapable of caring for them. Like, not just like pretending it cares, because I mean, people always talk about Democrats and Republicans and the issues and like the differences and issues between them. But I mean, truth be told, I don't think Democrats or Republicans care about the people. It's just that Democrats put on a better show of pretending. But beyond my meandering thoughts, I mean, it's kind of funny seeing all this, because now our country's like pushing so strongly to reopen schools. The president's like talking about how the European nations like Germany was able to open back up without any issues. As if like the fact that they opened up without issues because they also didn't have like a sizable portion of the global coronavirus cases and deaths, mind you, that for some reason we should just be able to ignore that and like tell ourselves that we deserve to reopen when we really fucking don't. And I hope that a lot of people can recognize that, like, we genuinely should not be reopening. Especially now, it's almost comical that they're arguing it now in like the face of the nation facing waves of new infections. And say what people want to say, but deaths have also recently spiked too. I remember it was like earlier, like last week, it was like maybe 200-300 a day. And like, sure, I'm still worried about the virus, but I was thinking like, oh, you know, maybe it is really just going down. Maybe it is like toning down. But instead, it's just being shown that like, no, it's literally just that there was a little bit of a lag between the cases that were coming out of like Memorial Day and all that, and then like the actual deaths that would normally and naturally follow that. So, you know, we're in a country seeing new waves of deaths, new massive waves of infection, and its answer to that is to unabashedly try to reopen without giving a singular like fuck about the people in it. Like, yeah, it'll pretend that it gives a shit about us, but I think at this point we know it doesn't. We know it doesn't. And even at that, it's like funny seeing them try to argue so many things about how it's like being done in our favor. Kind of, I don't know why, but like talking about like people pretending they're doing things in our favor kind of reminds me of the fucking Gilead CEO, who's trying to say that it's for the good of the nation that he puts up the only coronavirus treatment available globally for like fucking $3,000 a treatment, when like, no, just no. I mean, like, that's especially fucking disgusting. It's like, it's easier to say that that's disgusting, and easier to like notice the issues with that. Because I mean, like, a fucking big pharma guy with access to the world's production line of the only treatment available in the midst of a global pandemic, overpricing the fuck out of it because he only cares about shareholders, his stocks, and his pockets. But I mean, beyond that, it's even worse, because then the nation itself basically backed him up in it by like hoarding up the world's remdesivir supply anyways. So now like nations, if they want to be able to treat their COVID patients, they're gonna have to fucking kowtow to us, because our nation has no respect. Which I mean really isn't all that new, but it's still disgusting. Like, it's still god awful. And again, I genuinely wish my country wasn't like this. I remember a time where I really was like genuinely patriotic and genuinely proud of my nation, and that was before I like noticed all these little things that were like at first kind of like, you know, minor slip-ups. You know, you could argue that it was just like little, just tiny things, not important, to it now literally just basically being the country spitting in our face. And genuinely, I don't have hope of it getting better either. Because, I mean, it's one thing for like a nation to kind of act sus from the day-to-day happenings in like average time. But it's a whole other thing when we're in like the midst of like an actual health crisis, and it manages to fuck it up not only like badly, but like historically in like the face of everything else. And then especially with like people trying to legitimize it or back it up for some reason, which is again a whole other thing that I can't like fucking even wrap my head around, how people can like see all that shit and then try to think to themselves that somehow it's okay that their government does this. Oh shit, that's cool. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know what's going to be happening in the future either. Because I genuinely do feel like Trump can't win a re-election campaign. But at the same time, I'm kind of worried what'll happen if he loses regardless. Because, I mean, like, I'm sure people realize, like, if he does lose, there's gonna be some of his supporters that, like, don't believe in the loss or don't take it or whatever. And, I mean, people are gonna try to argue with it. That's guaranteed to happen, I feel like. I mean, he's already basically set himself up to, try to fight against the election results, no matter what happens. I'm gonna like take a quick little wow, I'm garbage at this. Absolutely garbo. But God, you people should be able to give legitimate gameplay. But yeah, back on coronavirus. I mean, on the one hand, there's like the whole issue with the government being completely incompetent. Like at this point, the Trump administration is like, it might as well be recognized that it's actively blocking our nation, like moving past this. There were many opportunities for the country to like pick itself up and work itself out of this, and it never really took it, never really took any of those chances seriously or by the throat, kind of just like watched them, said it would be against its personal freedoms, and that brought us here. And then there's just like all the individuals, and usually I want to like argue against like individualism, just because I mean really people are only as good as the propaganda they consume. And oh shit, what? Oh, I didn't know that button existed. But at the same time, all of the people that are taking up all this conservative shit are really being pushed to like almost like horrific levels of denial and anti-science rhetoric. Which, I mean, I feel like that kind of sounds broad, but like legitimately that's what's been going on with people like trusting the president over doctors. Like, I never thought I'd see the day where doctors would be like, I mean, I get like big pharma being political, but like actual like certified doctors and health officials being political, and like people reading any move they make at just like effectively just trying to defend the people and really just do their job. I didn't think I'd really be here to see a time where that would be seen as inherently political, like against the president. I mean, in its own right, if like the health officials, like their actions seem against the work of the president, I would think that should immediately be like a red flag towards the doings of the president. But instead, it's like support for him has gotten so strong that instead of like taking that and like seeing it for what it is, people are more inclined to push against the actual certified officials, which is really scary to me. And I feel like, well, I don't just feel like it, I know that's like a big part of why the pandemic's even as big as it is in the US. Like, I heard in New Zealand that there was this whole like national scandal. I saw this from Internet Today. It's a fucking good channel, so check them out. Again, I shouldn't be shouting at channels bigger than myself, but you know, they made a whole national scandal about some guy that like left his own personal quarantine for like 20 minutes. And like thinking about that, like the personal responsibility of people there has to be like really fucking high. You know, like the people actually, in general, not only care about their country, but are educated enough to like put that care into something productive. Like they're not gonna say they care for the nation, but like only when it benefits themselves. Like they care for the nation, and rather than just caring about like the checkbooks on the uber wealthy of their people, they're actually trying to look out for the average everyday person. I mean, the people that, because like there's all those people that try to minimize the case of deaths. Like I've seen people say like the pandemic isn't real, or like that 134,000 deaths isn't that bad compared to the U.S. population. But like we shouldn't set we should feel bad if there's even like a single death or a dozen deaths. Like we shouldn't try to just brush it off, regardless of what it is, and even more so when people are like reaching in the tens of thousands. And considering like the rates we're seeing, even if the death rate is like 0.1%, I feel like we're gonna really quickly be at like we're gonna really quickly hit another. I feel like we're gonna hit 200,000 deaths. I like fucking stumbled on my words way too much, but like you know, there's my point. Like we're gonna hit that. We're gonna hit that record, and when we do, I know there's gonna be even more people like act off like that's such a minor percentage or just unavoidable loss. Like it's almost like people are looking at it like collateral. Like, you know, we did all this, but you know, sure these people died, but it didn't matter. That's the vibe I get from it. And coming from people that so like stoutly put themselves out there as like pro-American, it's just fucking comical that they're so quick to accept like deaths of their own people. Like you would think that people that patriotic would be the first to like freak out with like their own nation facing the worst casualties it's seen for a while. Like these are more deaths than we've seen in fucking World War One on our own side, and you still have people trying to play it short. And I don't know why they think that's even justified. Like I've seen a lot of these supporters like defend the president regardless of what he does, and I kind of like twist my brain up trying to wrap my head around it. And honestly, I feel like it's at a point where the people are beyond understanding if they really push for that. Like genuinely, if somebody really feels like it's justified to defend the President of the United States despite us failing at a response to social and civil unrest, to a pandemic, to, I mean, and I would say the economic fallout, but the economic fallout, like, that follows our response to the pandemic. Like, it's only going to get worse if we're sufficiently bad at handling the pandemic. Like, if we want the economy to rebound, we have to deal with the disease first. I mean, I started putting my money in stocks recently, and I mean, I put it back in, but I know that recently I had to take my money out, and I did it because like I was really acutely aware of the fact that the fucking money just wouldn't be there if I stayed around for a few days, because people were getting fired for like the second time, and that hurt. That's hurting like the stock market. That's hurting investors. Like I feel like even for investors, like he's failed for the people that were already there. Like he can't argue that he's doing great for the market because the people that voted him in to help their stocks, they're all fucked at this point. Like they're beyond saving. He can only pretend that he's like aiding the people that were investing off of the fallout created by the pandemic. I don't think that's something to brag off of. That stock market dip shouldn't have been there in the first place. Stock market dips only follow fucking catastrophe. And now for some reason that's like a badge of honor to the president. And I mean, I don't get it. Maybe it's me just being like, I don't know, maybe it's me just being wishful or naive, but I don't get it. I'm not gonna get it. I really hope I never understand these people. Like, it's at a point where it's not just me not understanding. It's not even having respect for them, and I don't see why they would. Anyways. you know. But anyways, it was just something on my mind where this whole pandemic response and the way the government's handling it's almost a joke, like watching a fucking child try to like get food they didn't win, get a prize they haven't earned. But honestly, it's at a point where, I mean, I was never going to be able to do anything about it anyways, but now it's just a joke. It's just a joke. And I hope other people are at least, like, managing to get by through everything, regardless, managing to feel safe and enjoy themselves. And, I don't know, I'll still see about, doing some more low-level editing, fixing all this stuff, and maybe soon be doing more videos, maybe some more fun, and eventually down the line maybe I can do some cooking too. That'll be fun. And anyways, I hope whoever manages to stumble across these videos at least has a nice time while they see them. Thank you.